we live now, Gordon?
See
I
what
think
Twitch
we
is
are.
showing.
Good morning, Twitch.
So do we have to watch them on? No, okay. They're just not. The stream hasn't populated yet.
Yeah, I think we watch them on Twitch, and Gordon will just fix things. Oh, we're very much live. All right, you're here with Seth, Mr. Summer, and Bonnie Mirbacke.
How is everyone? All right. And just for everyone's awareness, we have no idea what we're about to walk into with these matches. We have not seen deck lists.
Yeah.
My picture is really blurry, I just realized.
Yeah. Resolution is not optimal.
I'm going to actually close Twitch. And
so apparently we're going to have a match. Oh, sorry.
All right.
Yeah. So we're going to have a match between Gordon and Stomp You Dead. And if I...
Are we to infer from Stomp You Dead that he's going to be on a Stompy list?
I think we should infer that. Yeah, absolutely. And I think we can sort of think that Gordon won't be playing more than 4 creatures. And those 4s will either be like Guardian Beasts or Triskelions or maybe Preachers.
I like Preacher a lot.
Yeah, I mean, when you stole my Guardian Beast there, because when I slammed it down, I was like, yeah, this will negate your entire deck. It's perfect. It's 2 fucking 4. I don't care about Pendelhavens even.
No, I agree. Like it was, and that's why I think if I remember correctly, you played the Guardian Beast and I just like ate the damage and bizarred because I was like, I have to dig for something to get out of this.
Yeah.
I was just like, I'll just take the 2 and hope that I get rid of these Gaia's Avengers, which seemed awesome in theory, but they were probably a little too greedy for my mana base. But that's a card that I've owned forever and have literally never cast. And that
I've actually seen Eureka lists with Avengers in sideboard. Because when you're Eureka, then opponent plays out a bunch of artifacts and you just...
Yeah. Oh, it's really smart. Like, right? Like robots, you just basically end up with a 5/5 or something.
Yeah.
And you can hardcast him, like, right? Like the ability to actually just, if you wild growth and then turn to him, if they drop a couple mocks in, you have a threat without Eureka. It's great.
Indeed.
Yeah.
All right. So we're on the battlefield here. They're flipping a digital coin. It ended up on its side.
Oh, they're using Teleria. That's why. Okay. Is this Teleria?
No, I don't. I think Gordon has a coin flipping thingy as well. All right, we got from the chat. He will not play Beast. So apparently someone was on during the brewing session last night. Okay, yeah. Gordon has a hand cam, lower right, lower left. Sorry.
I love it. Blue green, baby. Look at that.
Okay.
Although that's not a keeper.
No, that's not a keeper.
That's not a keeper. But that is some nice tech, though. Using the Sorcerers and the Pendelhavens, that's really nice.
Did you see the deck? Was it Hartford Festival or some American tournament where someone played Prodigal Sorcerer and Kumbaya Witches in the same deck?
No, really?
Which seems semi-good because the witches will kind of kill the sorcerers.
Oh, that's pretty funny. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, Gordon needs to fix names.
A good choice for you, I have to say.
Yeah, I figured like
not knowing the format.
Yeah, I figured like my relic bearers would take care of factories, and maces I had 4 obviously, and then witches would like the low hanging fruits.
Right.
But then again, it's a matter of getting them to survive, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was on 8 bolts, right? Like if I didn't have 8 bolts, Kabunjab, which is like against another weenie deck, if they're not packing 8 bolts, or they're more white weenie-ish with just swords, like that's just going to machine gun down everything they do.
Yeah.
You'll trade with all those tokens. It's a very good card, and again, this is why this format is pretty cool and I think interesting, because something like that would never really make the cut in regular old school if you were trying to make a competitive deck. You could do it
It's
here.
been my binder for years. So
All right, let's see what they got here. Oof, man, that is
okay,
rough
Gordon
hand for
got the wrong color of mana. He got the Time Twister again though, but I think he has to ship this as well. Yeah, it's a one lander Fellwar Stone Time Twister. Yeah, he has to ship it.
Who's on the draw?
I'm not sure. But yeah, I mean, Gordon has to mulligan this.
Yeah, I mean, there's a world where maybe this is better than a 5-card hand without knowing his deck. Like if he doesn't have one of those, well, he does.
Yeah, since he has the Time Twister, yeah. But still, I mean, yeah, sure, he can survive a couple of turns on his mace while waiting to draw a land. But then the Time Twister will lose its value because he will have netted his opponent like 3 cards while he couldn't play any.
And he'll be behind with mana too, which makes it really difficult.
Yeah.
Time Twistering when you're behind in mana feels real terrible.
Absolutely.
And this is where I actually think this is the other fun part that we didn't talk about. In old school, like it's easy to mull to 5 because with the new London mull rule and cards like Balance, you can really sculpt that hand to penalize your opponent for your mulls. But here, if you're running fewer power cards, you don't have that luxury, and you may not have Ancestral to bring your ass back. Now this is a good hand.
Yeah, indeed, because I mean I'm usually mull way too little. I should mull more often in this format because you have Ancestral, you have Balance, you have Time Twister and draw 7s. I think you can aggressively mull a lot.
I do think he should probably put the Lotus on the bottom.
Yeah,
not the
exactly.
Sapphire.
I was just saying the same, thinking the same thing. I think Sapphire is a lot better than Lotus here because he can go first turn Turtles.
Exactly.
Because he don't want to go second turn or first turn Living Lands.
Right.
Probably.
Because imagine if you had a Giant Tortoise against me, I would have done nothing.
Yeah.
Oh.
He do Living Lands. Oh. Okay.
All right.
Interesting.
We're off to the races. I guess he knows his opponent's not going to cast anything turn 1. I mean, maybe, I guess if getting that in play is that important and he has the, sorcerers and stuff, that's just so central to his plan. It's just better set it up, let it resolve, and then the chips will fall where they may.
Yeah, sure. He doesn't have any other green sources in his hands, so maybe. But yeah, they do it. But yeah, I would probably ship the Lotus as well. It might not be right, but I would probably have shipped the Lotus.
I'm not. I mean, like I'm less in love with Black Lotus and Old School personally. So it's really hard to use properly, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, it's a format where casting Icy Manipulator first turn of a Lotus is a good use of a Lotus.
Yes, it is. You're 100% correct.
So therefore, the Lotus is not as good. Per definition, yeah.
But I like this. So just a red-green beats.
Yeah, I think Penelhaven was a really good decision on your part.
Thank you.
It gets mana slots, it gets legend slots. It's just amazing.
And
did you play 2 or 3, by the way?
3. I went 3. Yep. And it just worked because it allowed me to play all those random 1/1s that they sit in the binder, like you said. I've had King Solomon's, and who cast King Solomon? All right, so I think at this point, it's weird because Gordon is really just like a Dirtle deck at this point. Is that what is that green? I can't see what that green spell is.
It's Master of the Hunt. It has to be Master of the Hunt, right? The Tortoise does a lot here, though, because the Curdy was winning the lands race.
I mean, I have to think that if you're the red-green player, do you start firing bolts at his lands?
Yeah, I think that would be good. But I'm not sure he's doing it.
Right.
I mean, I think it's better to fire at the lands than saving up for 2 bolts for the Turtles.
Right. Because the problem is like you're just, with the living lands and his greedy mana base, like a giant tortoise is just brutal. And I guess he sent the chain lightning at his face, which I don't know.
And that's that's a good target as well, of course.
Oh, that must be a tracker.
Oh, it's a tracker. Yeah, it's not Master of the Hunt. Yeah, you're right. It's a tracker. That's a good way of killing lands, though.
Yes, it
Combating, you tracker your tortoise to a land. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is very, very good. I actually have to say that from this position, Gordon has to be highly favored. Not knowing the deck list at all, but just what the board presence is, that is, for a weenie list to be facing a tracker with a giant tortoise, it's hard to punch through that.
Indeed. I think what Stompy Red needs to do here is like set up a trap where he attacks and can giant growth away the tortoise, because the tortoise is the main problem here.
Yep. Ooh. All right. Unfortunately, I think it just is going to die to the...
it's going to die to the tracker.
Yeah. I don't know. I think he's kind of in a tough spot here. I don't know if there's any...
Yeah, that was kind of sad because I think a flyer here is super good. Any flyer is amazing in this matchup.
Tracker needs 2 green though, right?
It does.
To activate?
I don't play tracker often enough, apparently. But yeah, you're right. It requires 2 green.
And so his killer bees are live now. If he's smart about it,
right.
the tracker really can't fight that.
I mean, yeah, the Triskelion in Gordon's hands is a good combat against the killer bees, but that's a long way from here. At least 2 turns.
Had he went for the trop, I think that would have been the better play with the chain. He doesn't know Gordon has a trike, but obviously, like constricting his mana and cutting him off of green when he's likely a double green list.
Yeah, and because he's playing living lands, you have to figure he's playing some kind of expensive spells that requires 3 or 4 or 5 mana. Gordon is apparently not a winner deck.
And I think this is right. Like he has to go for the throat at this point, and just hope that there's
Is Killer Bees pumping +1/+0 or +1/+1?
+1/+1. +1/+1.
All right, so you can't Pendelhaven his Killer Bees.
Nope.
No.
And they're dead now. Because that was actually maybe the best card that Gordon could have top decked in that position.
Yes, indeed.
Actually active. And I think this is looking kind of rough for the beatdown player at this point, or the Swedish meatball player, as his deck title is called. But Tracker is a very cool card. I think a lot of the mono green lists use it in just regular old school, right? As like their removal of choice.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. I kind of fancy the green lists that are just doesn't care about what the opponent does, but just try to overwhelm him with Scroob Sprites and Pendelhavens and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wonder how red heavy he is if he shows ball lightnings as the dark spots, because the trample damage could actually be valuable here.
Do you think he's running ball lightnings with killer bees? Because that takes a huge set of balls to pull off. Like
it does, but then again, I'm pretty sure he doesn't play Mace of it. So what is his dark cards? It's either ball lightning, or it could be Scavenger Folk is proper. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, obviously it's the most important part of this stream. It's Gordon getting beer.
Actually, that's a good question. Like, I have to actually look at a spoiler of what is in the dark, since we have no idea what their deck lists are. Let's see this to see what else he could be playing.
I mean, I guess since it's playing Pendelhaven, either he's playing the Elves of Deep Shadow, even though he isn't playing black, just because it's a 1/1.
Yeah.
Or it's
that's
Ball
what I did.
Lightning. It's most definitely not Fellwar Stone and or Mace of It.
Right.
Maybe
And
one mace, just for good
I
measure.
don't think he's Blood Moon either. Like I don't. I think that is also not in the realm.
He should be Blood Mooning though, against Gordon.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. Like maybe it's a sideboard card, right? Like the Blood Moon. I think this is why it's pretty interesting, because you need 3 dark cards for your sideboard, and this is a situation where like I don't know how good Pendelhaven actually is against Gordon with what he's doing, and so like, do you care if you lose your Pendelhaven, but you just turn off all of his mana? Oh, Suchi.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Pendelhaven with Living Lands is not bad.
Oh, that's right, because they're all 1/1s.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
He did tap his Pendelhaven to cast at Suchi, which seems like a mistake, but then again, it's a small mistake. It doesn't really matter, probably.
Yeah, it also might be one of those things that he just might not be thinking that his lands are 1/1s. Like you just forget, right?
Yeah, I usually forget about that. It's.
I mean, he might like other green like dark cards. Like Spitting Slug is not terrible and fits within his theme. It actually hits pretty good. He could also be on Tracker, right? Like it's not unreasonable to think that he just has a dude that also does removal. I'm just trying to look at this visual spoil right now to see if there's any cards that jump out. That might be something he'd want. I mean, Mana Clash is a cool Magic card if you're really into beatdown. It's a cheap, efficient way to deal some damage. Yeah, so a lot of those cards, you know.
What is he playing from Antiquities you fancy? Because we haven't seen any factories yet either. So
Pixies and
I do guess he's playing 4 factories though.
I think he's got one. I mean, does he have Pixies also? Like Pixies seem really good for a green-red list.
True, Pixies is really good. But I think you're on target with the Scavenger Folk. If I were playing red-green, I would definitely include 4 Scavenger Folk.
Yeah, it's literally. I would have played a 4th. I just couldn't find one. So 3 was all I had. So 3 is what I played.
So Gordon putting down a beer.
The thing is, if Gordon untaps here, he's in real trouble. This is where you really want Earthquake in your deck.
Yes. I mean, the possibility of someone playing both Pendelhaven and Earthquake in the same deck is probably quite low.
Slim to none. Slim to none.
Yeah.
But I wonder how much he's actually taking it. I wonder if he built his deck to take advantage of Pendelhaven. Because, like, I would never have played Suchi in my list. And Kurt Ape is also kind of okay in a Pendelhaven list. So I wonder if he is using the Pendelhaven with some slight upside as opposed to
trying to just forests. Yeah.
Right.
True.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens, to see if that's like, if it was more of just a random upside, or I'm going to try and really leverage this card for value.
Yeah. I would really love to see some Fire Sprites. They're underplayed.
That's a good card. Mana Fixing, Flyer, really nice.
Yeah.
It's actually like I didn't even think of that card. Because I'm trying to think, like my Legends cards, I could have probably run them, and they would have fit in perfectly. Because I wanted to run Scrib Sprites, but again, too many core set cards. They just didn't make the cut. I was only able to get 1 in the board. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at the dark list as well, and as you say, I mean, red has essentially nothing. If you do
you see Giant Growth and Berserk?
Yeah,
that is sexy.
That's some trample damage?
Though, is it? Did Gordon not block?
14. It looks like he blocked with 2 factories and the turtles, right?
Okay.
So he could essentially have like a 10 toughness block here.
So, which is,
but still, insane. I mean that cleans the board of Gordon's quite well if he.
Yep. And don't forget, the upside is now the trike can't come down. He doesn't know there's a trike there, but like, double stone raining him is pretty nuts.
Yeah, I think this really good. And he will actually get through for 4 damage and 3 permanents dead. And I mean, with the Tortoise dead, the Curdy suddenly is in play again.
Yeah, because Tracker's a 2/2, right?
Yeah.
So I guess the question is, do you want to trade your Curdy for a Tracker and a land? And that's probably reasonable at this point.
Yeah, I think you would. With Living Plane in play, I think you will always want to trade for lands.
Yeah, especially because he probably has.
Another Suchi.
But then he picked it up.
Okay.
Berserk, that's a spicy card, though. I like that.
Have we seen? Yeah, the core set for Stomp You Dead is obviously Berserk and Giant Growth. Then.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And
it's a good choice.
Yeah, Giant Growth. I mean, Giant Growth is effectively like a Lightning Bolt plus, so it gives you a little more utility, but it does a lot of what the Bolt does, especially if you have middle ranged guys like Suchi. You know.
So what's his 9th Arabian card? Is it this Twister? I guess he's playing 4 Cedar Brass and 4 Card Apes. So it's either it's a Desert Twister or Wily Wolf or
Library. Does he? Are they doing general?
Yeah, it could be Library. Gordon.
That's why I was happy you wanted to do Gentleman's, because then I didn't have to like play Library.
Yeah, I like Gentleman's.
Yep. There's the folk.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, I wonder if he will pop his folk right away, like as soon as he can to deny the mana.
Yeah, it depends. Yeah, because you haven't seen anything
big.
No, exactly. So yeah, I think he will probably go for the Follower Stone, even though I mean it doesn't really make a dent in Gordon's mana base. He has 5,
right.
So from the perspective of Stomp You Dead, it doesn't make a difference. So I would probably save it for when Gordon plays his factory.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously, he doesn't know that Gordon has a trike, but I would definitely save it for a factory because he has his own factory. And the factory war is kind of this sub-meta game in all old school games where you want to be ahead on factories.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, knowing that he's on Living Plane, though, or Living Lands, sorry, do you think you have to sort of assume that there is a trike or some... I mean, you have to assume there's some other mass removal spell, right, that can deal 1 damage to all your lands asymmetrically? Isn't that sort of like a crux? Is that a crux of the deck? I don't ever play it. That's why I'm wondering.
Yeah, I think you're at least expecting Falling Star and Prodigal Sorcerer, but maybe not Trike. I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, I haven't played this deck never, I think, except in the pub.
That's fair. Yeah, so the Time Twister is interesting because we don't know how much burn he has, which I
would expect the Chain Lightnings at least.
Yeah. He might not have bolts, though, because he did pick the Giant Growths, which...
True, and Berserk.
I mean, this is a desperation for Gordon, right? Like, I don't even know what he's searching for. He hasn't made a land drop, but he can't use the land if he makes it.
That's right, yeah.
And the Suchi's still in play, correct? Like, there's still a Suchi, a Curdy, and a Scavenging Folk in play. And his opponent has more untapped lands next turn. So I don't even know what Gordon can reasonably draw here to bail his butt out. Balance.
Gordon never plays white.
But again, it's always balanced, man.
I know. That's what I would have Time Twisted here, because looking for balance. That's my one go-to spell. It's so good to getting you out of situations like this.
Mm-hmm. And also, balance it's creatures first, correct?
Yeah, you're right, exactly, and that makes a whole lot of difference when living lands is in play.
Yeah, so maybe it's not as good because he'll basically just keep the Suchi, the Curd Ape, and maybe the Folk or whatever it is, and just sack.
Oh yeah, you're right.
So it
For
doesn't really
Gordon,
help out.
it's not as good. Yeah. I wondered on. I mean, since Stompider is playing Berserks, what is his Legends count? Is he playing Bloodlust? Do you think?
Good question. I mean, he could be like he has enough green to support Whirling Dervish too, which would be sort of in that Pendelhaven
True.
theme. He could be like Sylvan Library, but you're right. Bloodlust fits perfectly, right? If you're giant growthing and berserking, every 12-year-old one of us loved the idea of the ball lightning Bloodlust
Yes,
berserk, right?
indeed. 20 even, just like no more, no less. It's just 20.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
But I think Gordon's effectively dead here.
He has a crumble for the Suchi, but he has green mana as well. Yeah.
Does he have green mana open?
Yeah, Fellwar Stone.
Oh, that's. I'm sorry. It was an altered, and I didn't realize what it was.
Strip on a maze. Okay. It doesn't really make a difference. It's just prolonging something, but sure.
Yeah. I mean, it is good that like because the living lands is out, like he can't strip right away. So.
True.
He'll only take 2 damage this turn, or I guess it depends how many lands he attacks with, right? Like we don't know what's going to come.
Yeah, I think you're right. Which that you said before. Like I think Stomp You Dead has maybe forgot that he can attack with his lands.
Yeah.
I don't think he realizes these are 1/1s.
Yeah. Because Gordon's life is at 7, right? Like an Urnum Djinn doesn't really change the math so much here, as much as just like turning all your dudes sideways. Because like that would have been, he would have had 5 1/1s. I think that was lethal, right?
Yeah, and seeing the creature base now, I'm pretty sure he doesn't game Pendelhaven that much. So the Legends cards is more probably a Bloodlust than Whirling Dervish.
Probably. He's probably his chains. I'm trying to think, is there. Legends is a weird set, man.
It is.
Yeah, I don't even know what it could be.
In green and red, what good cards do you have? You have Chain Lightning, obviously.
The creatures are kind of suspect, kind of.
Pyrotechnics would be good.
Yes. Oh my God, Pyrotechnics would be backbreaking right now.
Mm-hmm.
Except Gordon does have a lot of artifact mana, so he only.
Wait, he played the Killer Bees earlier, so that's right. The Legend spots. Yeah.
So he's more spicy than we are in terms of thinking what's playable.
Indeed.
Yeah,
Gordon.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, nothing.
Yeah, I think he just forgot that his lands are dudes.
Yeah, I think he could have won 2 turns ago if he would have attacked with his lands all the time.
Yeah. I mean, it's too late in the week for me to do the math to figure out if he could have won last turn, but I think he had lethal, but who knows?
Yeah, but still, I mean, being a weenie deck, playing against what is essentially a control deck, trading lands for lands is always a good thing, right? Yep. Because,
although he's not like his curve is much higher than a traditional weenie deck is the one thing.
Not true.
So he might be valuing his lands more because we've seen the Suchis, the Urnums, and the Killer Bees. So he's at least, I assume there's probably close to quads of all 3 of them. So they're very mana hungry, which is funny that we haven't seen a mana dork because think you'd want one of those guys just to help speed them up, getting them out. But there's Hammerheim.
Which can't be used.
Yep. But this has been an interesting match.
But you're still swinging with everything except the Folk, right? You're saving the Folk for the Chaos Orb activation.
Yes, yeah. I think you just keep the Folk back, and I think you just smash. right? I mean, how can like he's got 3/1/1? Like, I mean, I want to eat up all his lands.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're going with everything. All lands, all creatures except folk.
Yeah. And he regrew the strip. Is that right?
Well, yeah.
Huh.
All right.
It's weird because he already made his land drop for the turn.
Yeah, and I think like attacking with those 2 lands is better than regrowing. And if I were regrowing, I would probably regrow Killer Bees, an evasive creature.
Yeah, got rid of it, right?
Oh yeah, there was Tongue Twister in between. You're right.
So I think he just misplayed there because I think he just forgot what was going on. There's elves, a deep shadow, and I think is that a city in a bottle I saw?
Did he just play Wheel of Fortune?
Yeah, that was. I think he thought he didn't make a land drop or he had more mana available.
Okay.
And then I think he realized at that point that he couldn't backtrack because he basically just wasted 2 mana.
Yeah, and Gordon draw 2 Falling Stars and a Black Lotus. This is...
Yeah.
He can actually kill a 6 toughness creature here with 2 Falling Stars. Oh, and he attacks with the Scavenger Folk. That's the problem.
Well, I think because he tapped his green. So this is where, like, that regrowth is really going to cost him. Because now the folk's naked. Gordon can take out Urnham, and that's a tough spot to be in.
Yeah, you're right. The problem started with casting the regrowth in the first place. If he would have just swung, he would have had this game.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Targeting, the strip mine, which he couldn't even play.
So Gordon should still take, depending on what the block is. I guess he has to take the Scavenger Folk, or he has 2 Cedar Brasses, which will...
He's at 5, right?
I think he's actually at 4. I think he didn't take the Cedar Brass damage, but I guess they have to work it out.
Yeah.
Is this still game 1, by the way?
Yes, it is still game 1.
I'm opening the beer.
The Stompy player just wanted to give us more magic, so he didn't want to attack. That's all it was.
True. We appreciate it.
Yeah, he was playing the long game for entertainment. Oh, there's a Lotus. Oh, man. All the mana.
Yeah, and he's got 2 Falling Stars.
Oh, he does. Oh, you actually saw that. You didn't just forecast that as his hand. You
saw that. Exactly. Yeah, I saw that in the hand cam. He has 2 Falling Stars and a Lotus.
I thought you were just joking as the ultimate hand he could get, and he actually did it.
Yeah, so this is annihilating, essentially. It was the worst Wheel of Fortune ever.
I'm sorry, I just missed that we could see his hand, and I just was... Oh, God, this is backbreaking. So I guess if you're Gordon, do you get greedy or you just put 4 together?
With the Scavenger Folk attacking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think
I mean, especially since Urnham was removed for free, essentially, since the Scavenger Folk didn't was able to tap, then 6 damage here. He can actually save 1 Falling Star for later as well. Just taking the apes and a couple of lands now.
Yeah, I mean, this is where you see that regrowth cost him so much, right? Because he could have kept 2. He could have kept a forest and a Pendlehaven up, and just had options. Okay.
Only?
Okay. Let's see how greedy he's going to be is the question.
Yeah, I've seen someone made a chart where it's possible to kill 9 or hit 9 cards.
I mean, I think if you're Gordon, like, I actually probably would have cracked the Lotus and get my lands up, and then try to took out the Ape and then figure the rest out. Oh God. Because I mean, there is still a world where like he untaps and Gordon's just dead, right? Because he has burn, and we know he's got Berserk, Giant Growth. So like one creature can basically get through and lethal. So I think
what is the card count in Jonas's hand? He does have at least 4 cards or something in hand, right? After that wheel.
Yes, yeah. I think he didn't play. Did he play anything off the wheel? I don't think he played anything off the wheel because he had made a land drop before he wheeled.
Yeah, so you're right. Berserk is the out here. You need trample damage.
Mm-hmm.
If you weren't wise enough to include Ball Lightning in your deck, you need a Berserk.
Right. I mean, he could also punch through with like, there's a world, depending on how Gordon taps, that, you know, he can swing with all his dudes and just like having 2 giant.
But he won't have any dudes left after this.
Well, if he hits it, right? Like that's the thing. How greedy do you get to make it? The more cards he adds, the less likely he is to hit the ones he needs. So, because like if he misses a Kurt Ape, like that's pretty drastic because
you're right.
Gordon can no longer trade the lands for lands. So it's interesting. We'll see what happens. I'm not good enough at flipping to ever play Fallen Star, so I just chalk that one up as a good card that I'll never play.
It is a insanely good card with a new errata. Yeah, I think it's severely underplayed.
I mean, a one-sided Earthquake that taps a Sarah Angel. What more could you want?
Yeah, I mean the tapping effect alone is good.
Yep.
Oh, you're right. That made everything really interesting. That's just 2 lands, no creatures.
Right.
So both apes survives.
Yeah, and that's what like I wondered if he would have like tried to go for the apes first and then get some lands, and then if he used this Lotus to do that, and the Moxen, he has a lot of, he sells his dudes.
Here comes the second one.
Yep. Yeah. And I won't lie, it's been so long since he told us what they were, I forgot. But this game has had a lot of back and forth and a lot of swings. Works.
What? Green creatures red. What the fuck is he talking about?
I guess the forests are green creatures. I don't know what City of Brass is though, right? Is that just?
Yeah. All right. We'll see what gets destroyed here.
Okay, so we got an ape and a City of Brass. Oh, we got 3. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so you got City of Brass. So Stomp Your Dead is essentially out of red mana right now, so you can't draw a bolt for the win.
But Berserk still gets him there. Or I guess he needs
Berserk
Giant Growth
is still good.
Right?
Yeah.
Because is Gordon, he's at 3, right?
I think you're right. Gordon should have sacrificed his Lotus to have blockers.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what he has in his hand. He might also, I can't see his hand. My camera's too blurry, so I apologize.
It looks like Gordon has essentially lands in his hand. It's, Trike, Wily Wolf, and Factory and Tropical Island.
Yeah.
Okay, there's... No, Aspect of Wolf. Sorry, I thought it was Wily Wolf. It's Aspect of Wolf. Right?
No, that is a Wily Wolf. That's why.
That's a Wily, yeah.
Correct, yeah. Oh, I mean, he does get to, he can untap and drop a Trike, though. So that's likely just game. if he doesn't die this turn. Well, I guess he's still low enough, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, Jonas has a couple of turns drawing into a bolt.
yeah,
Gordon won't be killing him,
right?
Super soon.
And Gordon can't kill all of his board with a trike.
True, but he will be able to kill that Scavenger Folk.
Mm-hmm. And you probably just nuke his lands, to be honest with you. The Kurt Ape is largely irrelevant.
Yeah, you're right. Right.
Yeah.
The Gordon just told us he forgot to play a land because he's a
it's like
rookie.
The voice of God telling us what's going on.
This is an advanced sealed OS, Seb Sila say. Yeah, but I have to remind you, Seb, the first Swedish championship with Leon Lindbäck and Dan Hörning. Leon actually played 2 Giant Tortoise in his Type 2 deck. There was at a time where Type 2 included duels like Revised, The Dark, and Fallen Empires. Don't know if Homelands was released, but the first Swedish championship, the runner-up played 2 Giant Tortoises in his main deck.
Yeah, I think Homelands was not legal in that first. It was like that first 6 months, right? A standard.
Yeah.
That first version of it, yeah, that had all because it was revised. It was Fallen Empires. It was Chronicles.
The Dark.
And The Dark. Yeah, it was a wild format. Yeah. And it's funny because like Sedge Trolls weren't really played much then, which it seems insane, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that. Just nuking his lands and saying, I don't care about the Scavenger Folk. Yeah. It's a real tough spot to be in.
All right, so he...
What a game.
It feels kind of bad because we both know that Jonas would have won a few turns ago if he didn't regrow that strip mine.
Yeah, it is unfortunate.
It is unfortunate. I mean, I don't blame him because a lot of the time when I play against Living Lands deck, I forget that my lands are also 1/1 creatures.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it did allow us to see Gordon have that wicked Wheel of Fortune hand that gave him 2 Fallen Stars, and I mean, it was just fantastic.
Yeah, and we did get 2 Falling Stars on stream, which is on the same turn, mind you not. So yeah, I think we have to be pleased with that.
And that's likely just a nail in the coffin for the rest of the game. Because unless he's got a Mox Sapphire, or Ruby, I'm sorry, there's literally no way he can get out from under the Sorcerer.
No. Exactly, it has to be Ruby Bolt.
Yep. That is his only way out.
And I'm going out on a limb here, but I kind of expect Jonas not playing powerless.
Okay.
Since we haven't seen any power cards yet, and yeah. So this is what they in Magic call a scoop.
I mean, he might have outs, right? I can't think of any other cards besides the Mox that could take him out of this. You know, I guess there's a world if he has Black Lotus, like we just haven't seen it.
Yeah. If he included Fire Sprites, which we talked about, then he would have been able to cast the bolt off of the Fire Sprites.
That is correct. It would have been. He could have used some flyers here also because the Giant Tortoise just gummed up the ground.
Yeah, I mean, one Giant Tortoise does everything here.
Yep. I mean, that's the one thing. Like my deck, I wanted Scrib Sprites in what I was building because I was fearful that like one little dude could come up the ground for me. But there's just, again, the deck building constraints doesn't allow you to fit them in. But Fire Sprites is essentially a Scrib Sprite, and so it fills that role of the cheap flyer, and it fits the need of the Legends cards, which is huge. I didn't even think about it. Thank you for sharing that. Yep. I do think at this point Gordon should start attacking.
Yeah, with everything. I mean, he could trade one land for an ape every turn. It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, you keep the giant tortoise back just because it's a huge wall. But you should be swinging with everything.
Oh, yeah, you're right. The ape is actually a 1/1.
Because I mean, without knowing the deck list, like there is a world where there are draws that Jonas can effectively win this game, right? If he gets a bolt. So I think Gordon has a window where he doesn't want to let his opponent top deck out. So he's got to just start smashing, which he is.
Yeah.
Also, it's just like the mercy rule in sports, right? Like put the person out of their misery, please.
Exactly.
Unless your goal is to torture him, and then go for it, man.
I mean, that kind of sounds up Gordon's alley. The extended torture.
I also like how he's not attacking with his wolf. He's like, I'm going to pump. Just to rub salt in the wounds.
Yeah, because he want to save the eventual land that was blocked by the by the ape there. So fucking greedy, Gordon. Just get it over with.
So he is ball lightning. Wow.
He does have ball lightning.
Yeah. So I thought I had a greedy mana base. He is definitely playing a much greedier mana base than I am.
Yeah, I mean, I have to get kudos to anyone playing Killer Bees and ball lightning.
Like I said, that takes a set of balls, man. That was a great match. A lot of back and forth.
Yeah. And I think we need to make really clear that Gordon was losing this all the time.
Yeah, I mean, you can make fun of him for the next week, right?
Yeah. All right, the deck is it just one giant tortoise? What?
Yeah.
Didn't he kill one giant tortoise in the first game? No?
But he time twisted.
Oh,
right?
he time twisted. So that one giant tortoise actually cemented the game. Totally.
Yeah. I mean, it is funny because like he has like his singletons are actually really nice because I like what he's doing with them. I like the if biff in the sideboard. I think that's really sexy.
Mm. So what is he bringing in here? I guess he'll bring in the 3 blasts, obviously. Probably another maze.
Okay. Yeah, I think a maze is good. I think the blasts are good, especially knowing that he's got ball lightning, right? Like, maybe that's a great card.
Other than that, I don't think he's bringing in more than 4, maybe the universe, but maybe not. So
Rook Egg isn't terrible also, but I don't know if he wants it. The problem is like, what does he take out is the bigger question, right? Like, I think that will determine what he brings in. Just because his deck is reliant on
I think Siren's Call is going out.
Kill it.
That's too cute to be in the main deck in the first place.
I personally would probably take out a draw 7 against the. I know he's kind
of you're right. Yeah, time Twister is Time Twister should go out definitely. Scavenger Folk goes out because opponent doesn't play any artifacts. Master of the Hunt seemed really good here.
Yeah.
Or maybe he actually doesn't want to board in the 4th maze. He already have 3 mazes and the Master of the Hunt. And the Falling Stars. He has so much removal.
Yeah, Bebs might just be enough, to be honest with you. He doesn't really need a whole lot. He can also take out the crumbles, right? Like, he's got Suchi, never mind. That's why I think like the Rook Egg might just be better than a lot of maybe not. I don't know. Like it just blocks and then he has a 4/4 in the air. All right, let's see this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he
now we finally get to see what he included.
It's really interesting. So
it's a 4 lightning.
4 ball, and he's Channel Fireball also. He's not playing bolts, but he is playing Channel Fireball and Birds of Paradise. Yeah. Okay, it makes a little more sense now where he sunk his
All right, and only 2 Berserks. I probably would have played 4 Berserks except instead of the birds, or 4 giant goats. But anyhow, this is a really cool deck.
Yes.
This is a really cool deck.
And
what does he bring in? I mean, so I'm definitely bringing out 2 Blood Moons and a Scoundrel Folk. But then again, he didn't see any Triskelions from Gordon. He saw 1.
Yeah, I mean, I think he just realizes that the Blood Moon is the best card, and then I think Fireball is largely bad against Gordon.
You're right.
I mean, he doesn't have Channel though is the issue, so I guess maybe he's all in on the Channel Fireball plan.
If Biff were proper Pestilences, in a way they killed Gordon's lands with Living Plane out, they would have been super good. But since they only affect flying creatures, I think Fireball is good against Living Plane. Yeah,
right, with Living Plane.
But yeah, Blood Moon definitely.
The other thing is like his 4-drops are less good because if Living Plane hits, it's a lot harder to get them out, and they come out slower.
Yeah, I think Urnam needs to go. Probably.
Yeah, I can see that.
So, but then again, Gordon wasn't as artifact heavy in game 1 as where you would like to include 2 more crumbles. That's pushing it.
Mm-hmm. And like Scavenger Folks, it doesn't really address Trike. Like Trike just does its duty, right? Like there's really little that you can do with it because you can attempt to try and crumble it or something, but Trike's the damage is done.
Again, Mist makes a good point here. It's really hard to bring in 2 Blood Moons with this mana base. Look at the deck. You have 3 Cedar Brass, 4 Factories, 1 Strip Mine, 4 Tigers.
Yeah, so what you do is you cut. You actually don't mind because you just want red mana, right? Like Ball Lightning would be the thing that would help. So I think you kind of just acknowledge that your Killer Bees are not great here. And you probably pull out the Killer Bees and maybe Elves of Deep Shadow, I don't really love them because they don't fix anything. Like I get why they're there.
It's just good with Pendelhaven, but he only plays the 1 Pendelhaven.
Right. So I think you could probably cut the Killer Bees and the Elves, bring in the Blood Moons, and I think you have to bring in Blood Moon, right? Maybe you
yeah. Regardless, you have to bring in 2 Blood Moons.
And I think I think you actually consider bringing in Reb, right? Like Giant Tortoise was so strong there. Like having, he doesn't know that he only has 1 Giant Tortoise, but I think you have to fear the Giant Tortoise.
Actually thinking about it, I think instead of cutting 2 fireballs, I think you actually want to add the 3rd fireball.
Right,
here.
that's right. Yeah, I was wrong. I forgot about the living land interaction, and you're 100% correct. Like he wants more removal, not less. But I do think that the Killer Bees are the cards that are like the weakest. And then maybe plus minus the Elves Deep Shadow, or maybe it's the Urnums. I don't really know which way you wanted to go with that. There's arguments for both, right?
What does Birds of Paradise actually do in this deck? It helps cast Urnum and Suchi.
Yeah, I think it's just to really get to 3 red. Main deck, right? Like,
yeah.
You know, it's like he's running Ball Lightning and he has 2. Well, essentially, if you think about it, like Pendelhaven is a basic forest, right? So he's running 3 basic forests and 5 colorless mana sources. Your odds of actually resolving a Ball Lightning on turn 4 are really slim with this list. So Birds helps, I guess, smooth that out a little bit.
Yeah, I think cutting the Killer Bees for 2 Bloodlust and upping the red count in the mana base would have been a proper deck here.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And this is sort of like what I was thinking, like Blood Moon and Ball Lightning just seem so sexy together.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I looked at the dark, but actually when I was exploring the dark, I realized, and you mentioned the same thing, like the sets are much deeper and with better cards than you actually think. You know, Antiquities included, right? Like just great cards up and down the list.
Yeah. And I think, his Antiquities row is pretty decent. He has the Factories, 4 Suchis, and another card, which is essentially how, if you want to power game this format, that is how you should do it. Mm-hmm. You should have 4 Suchis, 4 Factories, and 1 other card in the Antiquities slot.
Or you could use Pixies, because Pixies invalidate all those.
Either or. Yeah.
Yep. All right, let's see what Gordon's got here. Oh man, that is a really good start for Gordon.
What to say? Falling Star. Oh yeah.
2 mocks and a Fellwar Stone and a factory.
Oh yeah. We shouldn't forget that Gordon had to mull to 5 last game.
Mm-hmm. Right. But the reason why this is great, like he knows his opponent's on green. That Fellwar Stone will get him the double green he needs.
Mm-hmm.
And he has the Falling Star in hand. I mean, there's a chance that on turn 3 this is just a fucking blowout.
Yeah. Unless Jonas decides to only play 3 red cards, red spells in a turn, and ball lightning him to death. But
yeah,
apparently
that can
not.
happen. I mean,
That's mountain, ball lightning, and
right. His third turn could be a channel fireball for the win, right? Like, it's possible.
Yeah, it could be.
I'd love to see that.
Oh, I would love to see that. Please.
Yeah, I mean, this Gordon start is about as perfect as you could hope with his
deck
after seeing it.
Two Moxes and a Fellwar Stone. Yeah, he has everything.
Yeah. I mean, he's got the factory. He's got a Beb if needed. I don't even think it's.
He has a Blue Blast as well, so Channel Fireball won't even do it. Yeah.
Nope. Yeah. I think we know the outcome of this match most likely, even though the.
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
yeah.
After seeing the 8 first cards, we know the outcome.
I mean, just listen. Anything can happen. That's why you play the games, right? Like we thought the last match was going to go one way, but I don't think Gordon could have asked for a more perfect start.
No, but then again, we are all very aware of that Gordon shouldn't have won the first match.
Yep.
I mean, I just want to add that to the. Okay, we have Penalhaven, which does nothing.
It's interesting to see that he kept a hand that he's 3 mana on turn 2 and no spell. As the aggro player.
Oh, he did shift the turn. Okay, I think I'm on a few seconds delay from you.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, that's really interesting. So Bird was the play, and then let's hope to draw something from the top.
And which the living land is just so good in this matchup because he doesn't have power, right? So there's no Moxen, but if you think about it, like you're trying to get 3 red, he can't even ball lightning now, right? Like he's got to wait an entire turn to ball lightning. Because that mountain doesn't tap.
Yeah. And
it's like a great time walk. And he's just got Bebs up for days. Although I do think Gordon should Falling Star here. Yep.
Yeah, that's the proper thing. And I think you actually want to kill the lands more. You actually want to kill lands as much as the birds here.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. As long as you get 4, you're happy.
Right.
Or actually, as long as you get 2, you're happy.
Yeah. If you take out 2 lands here, you're so far ahead. You probably want to get the Pendelhaven and Bird more than, well, I guess because it's hard to cut him off of green, right? Because like he doesn't have to fear red because he's got 2 Bebs in hand.
Yeah.
So the only spells that he could really fear are the green ones. Oh. The board is gone. Jesus.
Yeah, that's horrible. Okay.
That is a kick to the junk.
And also, it felt like Jonas just every turn just played out what he had. So I'm not even sure he has another mana source in hand.
Right. And if he does, it's like, is it the right one, right? Like we know there's Vega. So, but again, he can't even do anything, right? Like he's got to wait. So next turn he's only going to have 1 mana available. He doesn't have any 1 mana spells in his hand, or maybe he does.
And I mean, you're right. And living plain with 4 drops is a real problem because that will take Jonas. Even if he draw the optimal amount of mana sources, it will take him 5 turns to deploy a 4 drop and then 6 turns before he can actually attack with 1. So yeah, in that time, Gordon would most probably have locked in the game. I mean, a Prodigal Sorcerer here, and then it's Scoop.
Right. Yeah, it is. Is he animating the factory? Or is he just swinging with the factory as a 1/1?
Well, it feels wrong when you have Moxon in play.
It seems weird. Because, like, does he have...
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Yep.
But then again, Gordon likes the extended torture, like we said previously. So in Gordon's mind, it's better to swing for 3 than for 4.
He doesn't want his opponent to lose too fast, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that was a beautiful falling star flip, so it's quite...
It was, indeed.
Jonas.
I'm going to salute that one. Cheers.
Oh my gosh, this hand is just...
Yes, 2 Bebs, a Crumble, living play. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the only thing that Jonas can do is to potentially get out of this or stabilize this, to potentially have a crumble if he boarded them in to take care of the factory.
I mean, yeah, you're right. Scavenger Folk is still good, as well as Crumble, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, there's the Crumble. Nice, good. We want a comeback here. We really need a comeback here.
I'll see a third game between these decks.
Definitely.
I mean, because the one thing is Gordon doesn't have a lot of lands in play, right? So he doesn't have a lot of threats on the table.
This changed a lot of stuff. I mean, a factory here, that's essentially a giant tortoise on Jonas' side.
Right. Now, I still think he should change his lands.
He should definitely change the tropical island there.
Yeah.
That would cut Gordon out of blue totally.
Yep. But I think if you're Gordon, I think you actually just do nothing.
Yeah, you don't want a twister here. Definitely not want a twister here.
I mean, the difference there was like that chain lightning, if it targeted the drop, was it tapped? It wasn't, right? It was untapped. So he would have just bebbed it anyway.
Yeah, true. But still, you have to go for it.
Right. But I think Gordon,
the worst thing is fearing counter spells and then waiting enough time to the opponent actually getting counter spells. So you better just
make them have it.
Yeah.
Because Gordon, he's only running the 1 mana drain, right? Like there's no counterspell proper in his deck.
Not true. I think, a Curd Ape here would actually change the balance a lot. Just a single Curd Ape would, yeah.
Curd Ape would be very, very strong. And Gordon does have the crumble, so he can attack, and hopefully he's hoping that he activates his factory.
Yeah, Blue Blast takes care of the Curd Ape, of course, but still,
that's good.
Yeah, ripping a Blue Blast of your opponent with a Curd Ape I think it's a good trade, because you don't want your opponent to have the Blue Blast for the fireballs on your mana base later on.
And I think this is fine. Like Jonas just has to march out his bombs and just tap out trying. He doesn't know he's got the Bebs in hand, but he's just got to keep trying to land these haymakers that might change the tide of this match.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. I don't think he can actually think a lot about the sequencing. He just has to play the cards and we got a comment here, Seth, that people like the commentary. So I guess we're not totally screwing things up.
Yeah, that or they're just being very kind because they want us to shut up.
Not totally unlikely.
These 2 idiots. No, I mean, this match has been fantastic. A lot of cool cards, a lot of crazy interactions. My hat's off to anybody playing Ball Lightning and Killer Bees. That is like my inner 12-year-old I love it.
Yeah. I mean, I actually had a friend during my early Magic years who played he didn't play Bola, but he played Shivan Dragon with Curd Apes. He was the red-green player. You know, in your play group, you had the green player, you had the black player, and essentially, you know. And he was the red-green player, and he got a Shivan Dragon and he got a Killer Beast. So what's he's gonna do, right? He's gonna play them both.
Got to do it.
Yeah.
So true story. When we were little, you know, I started when like Revised and Legends was out, but like Legends were I think like $5 or $6 a pack at that point. So like clearly we were not paying an extra $2 for a pack. We were just going to buy Revised, right? It was cheaper.
Obviously,
got more cards. And then like the next year, you know, when that summer when Chronicles released, it was like the coolest thing in the world. And my brother's first pack, he got a Vivictus Asmadi.
Oh, so me too. My first Chronicles pack ever was Vivictus Asmadi. And then I was sold in Chronicles. I bought so much Chronicles. It was insane.
It was the greatest thing. And he ended up trading within our group of guys we played with to get 4 of them. And so he built a 60-card deck running 4 of them. And I don't think, if memory serves me correct, he may have had like 1 or 2 dual lands. So you can imagine the clunky hands this kid had playing. And it was just the coolest thing in the world. That we were all in awe because it's like, it's an Elder Dragon. Of course it's the best thing.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't really get Legends here in Sweden. So Chronicles was the next best thing. I started with the Revised as well. We got Revised the Dark and essentially that. I mean, the really early adopters got Unlimited in Sweden, but I wasn't one of them. But I bought the hell out of Chronicles because every booster pack was filled with super amazing cards.
Gordon, he is not top decking well.
No, and the 2 factories, I mean, we're again at the factory. I mean, he has a tutor, which he can't play.
He doesn't have black. I actually do think that, after that last draw, without having a Beb in hand, I would have fired off the Time Twister, actually.
Yeah, but then again, he has so many good. He wants to play that Crumble at least before firing it off.
I guess.
I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I can see that. Clear the land. That's fair. I mean, because he will be able to basically kill both factories here, right?
Yeah.
Oh, or I guess an ape in a factory. Okay.
But I think Jonas is doing this completely correct. He's just swing with everything every turn, just tapping it down, attacking, totally on the offense. I think that's the way to win here. Yeah.
The longer the game goes, the more it favors Gordon. So he's just got to get into points of damage when he can. Because again, like Gordon may have to cast a draw 7, right? Like a lot of his cards are clunky, so he's got the play set, right?
And Jonas has no cards in hand, right? Another living plane for Gordon.
Yeah. I mean, it also at some point, like Gordon has to make the decision whether he's going to cast a Time Twister or not at all this game.
Because and I think you're right. Now is the time. If he doesn't draw a black mana next turn, he has to cast Time Twister.
I mean, because
what would it tutor for? Yeah, Falling Star, obviously.
Yep. Yes. Yeah, I mean, I think that's obviously the best thing he could get.
Yeah.
But I do think you just Time Twister here.
Yeah.
Because he's not very far. Like if his opponent untaps and has like a Chain Lightning, like literally this game he's 5 life, right? Like his Cities of Brass are essentially shut off. His Time Twister is real dicey at that point.
And the question is, did Gordon try to? Oh, why didn't he swing with the factory? That has to be a mistake, right?
There's an untapped factory on his opponent's side, and so
Sorry, I didn't see it between the Moxen.
Yeah,
you're right.
He doesn't. Yeah. See, I guess Gordon has to assume he doesn't have lightning bolts, so you can't bluff it either, right? Like if he had lightning bolts in his deck, I'd say just throw it in and see what happens.
Yeah, this is the whole reason why I would like this format to ban the factories, because as old school goes, it comes down to the factory war. A lot of matches comes down to the factory war.
Yeah, if there were no factories in this matchup, it'd be totally different.
Yeah.
And I think for the better, to be honest with you. There's such a marginal downside to playing factory, it's a problem. Oh, sexy. Love it. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
oh, that he drew through the last turn.
Ball.
He just fissured a ball lightning. Oh, you're behind, so you didn't see the fissure.
Oh yeah, now I saw the fissure. Oh, fine. But that's actually good as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was awesome.
If
Gordon
this,
just top decked that.
if this, yeah, if there's a single good way to get rid of a ball lightning, it has to be fissure, right?
Yeah.
Fissure or desert twister. I can't complain about those two.
Yeah. I mean, Fellwar Stone's not the worst thing here, to be honest with you. I mean, I guess it's not active, but it's no really worse than a land.
Yeah. So Gordon actually boarded in fissure.
Yeah.
That is quite odd, though, because I mean, his opponent has a lot of like just 2 3s, 1 1s, and what is he planning to destroy with the fissure? Suchis or Urnhams?
Yeah, and Urnhams. Yeah, and maybe the Killer Bees. It's just a one size fits all, and also like can get a land if he needs to.
Yeah, like Herglans says in chat, Berserk counter. Yeah, sure, I agree.
That's fair. Now that's a good card.
Okay, yeah. I'm gonna refresh the Twitch and see if I can get up to speed with you.
Good.
Yeah. Chain Lightning?
Chain Lightning. No, he casts the Elves of Deep Shadow.
Yeah, but then Chain Lightning the Prodigal Sorcerer.
Oh, now are you ahead of me now?
Yeah, apparently.
What is going on here? Oh no, I'm sorry. Gordon's debating whether he wants to send it back. It just went to the yard, and Gordon's deciding whether he wants to send it back.
Okay.
I guess you take out the factory.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
But I guess then he could send it back and take out your factory. So maybe that's not. I don't know. Actually, that's a really tough decision. Yeah, because Gordon hand is not great. Oh.
Yeah, that changed everything.
Yeah. Especially because Gordon doesn't have to tap any of his lands to do it, so he can go on the offensive depending on what happens.
Yeah, and I mean, he's definitely want to get the Mishra's Factory. That's the prime target here.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, I think you go for factories and red sources, right? You just want to stop ball lightnings from hitting the table. So the factory and the Tag are the real two key targets here. The rest are largely don't matter, but you. I do appreciate the fact that Gordon is super greedy with his falling stars to make it more exciting. I would not be as aggressive, I think. I'd probably just target like 2 or 3 creatures. So I do give him credit for just going all in. No, I'm by myself. All right, so we're going to find out how this match is going to end up right now. I won't lie, I can't keep track of what Gordon's calling with the falling star targets, but we'll see how this flip ends up. See which cards he prioritizes. Oof, backbreaking. He's left with a Hammerheim. That's brutal. Gordon's hand is largely garbage, but he does have a pretty substantial creature count on the table. Just find out where my co-commentator is. Right. All right, so I guess you're just stuck with me now. So we'll find out how Gordon puts this one away, likely, I would think. He's got a pretty commanding advantage here. The Crit Ape's only a 1/1. The Factory's going to do some serious work. Okay. Yeah, yeah, no worries. I'm just talking to myself. So likely just figuring out how this one will end up, I think, at this point. I think it's pretty unlikely knowing that Jonas doesn't have any power, that he could power through this game with what Gordon has on the table, but we'll see what happens. Gordon's hand's largely all blanks, but I don't think that matters. They're trying to figure out what happened to my co-commentator, but we'll see. Okay. All right. Let's see what happens. I think they're trying to figure out what's going on with the commentators at this time, so we'll just give them a minute or two. Okay. So I messaged Gordon just telling him to just, I guess at this point, just move forward with the match because I think the outcome is largely not up for debate. So we'll see what happens as they try and work on this. Okay. Says it's reasonable as a land. And at this point, Gordon should just be swinging with everything that can actually attack. I actually don't think Jonas has any proper outs, but why take a chance? Okay. Think that's game? Yep. What a crazy match. All right, we'll see what Gordon says about getting the players to chat. Oh, there's my co-commentator. He's back.
What? Am I here now?
Sounds good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me now? Hello.
Gordon will be joining us briefly.
Do you read
We'll talk about the decks a little bit.
Do you read me? No. No audio, right?
Hello, everyone. We are back.
Hey.
So we had some big problems there with Bonnie, it seemed. Can someone hear me?
I can hear you just fine, Gordon.
Yep, and I do think Stream can hear me, and Stomp You Dead here can hear people as well, maybe.
Yeah. Yes.
But
I can hear people.
But Bonnie is completely
Am I
silent.
muted? Hello.
Yeah, he can hear us, though, I think.
Okay, because we can hear Bonnie.
What? You
can you?
Yeah.
Yes. We can hear you.
I can't hear him.
Okay. That may actually have been... Okay, that's very strange. But...
I assume it's always me when it comes to technology that I broke it. So
yeah, I actually changed how I pick in your signal mid-match because it was so blocky and bad.
yeah, it's probably just me.
But we're gonna keep this short as we are a bit behind the schedule as well. I'm a slow player, also trying to fix the tech, and yeah, every time I play it takes forever because I need to do way too much.
Me and Seth has to be the interviewers, right?
Yes.
The match is great. I mean, the game.
So Seth, can you reload real quick, and maybe you'll hear each other, and then you'll do the 5-minute interview.
Yeah, I wanna. Could you go and bring out the decks on the stream?
Now I can hear everyone.
Perfect. So, first deck. Bonnie, you're the host now.
All right.
I can hear you. I'm back. Can you guys hear me?
Perfect. Yep.
Yeah, both me and said that this was a work of art of a deck. I mean, it takes some serious balls to play both Killer Bees and Ball Lightning in the same deck.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we really like it. We did, however, wonder, did Bloodlust ever cross your mind, seeing that you played Berserk as your core spots? And yeah, go.
I thought about Bloodlust, but I opt to not use it.
Yeah, it was really good, and I guess the reason for including the birds was to support both Killer Bees and Ball Lightning.
Exactly. And the biggest reason for the birds is that I don't own any power cards, any Moxen. So I compensated that fact with the birds instead and elves.
But you still chose the birds above Llanowar elves, even though you had Pendelhaven.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I love the birds. Don't get me wrong; it's a beautiful card. It's one of the most beautiful green cards there is, and I have to compete set there that I think birds might be the best unrestricted green card.
Yeah.
So Seth, with
I'm
that,
more
take
on
it away.
that.
I think I might be the only person on the this chat that has my feelings on Sylvan Library. We can loop in a bunch of other players that'll agree with you all too.
I play one Sylvan Library.
I love
It's
the
enough. One Sylvan. Quite enough.
Yeah. This deck is super sexy. I love everything about it. We were talking about how this is our inner 12-year-old was just, it's awesome. Like just strong deck building. I mean, obviously, I figured you would have played more Pendelhavens. I guess did you limit yourself to only 9 and not go over that? Is that why you?
I did exactly 9.
Okay.
And exactly 3 in the sideboard.
Okay.
So that's the reason.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It did sadden us a bit in game 1, where you were obviously winning, Jonas.
We talked a bit.
I didn't know.
Yeah. that you played a regrowth for Script Mine and then wheeled instead of just attacking with your lands.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Did you just forget that they were dudes?
Fun. Wheel is especially fun after a Twister.
Yeah. But both me and Seth talked about that a lot of the times when you're playing against Living Pain decks, you forget that your own lands are also 1/1s.
Exactly.
That you could attack with. Yeah. I do that all the time.
With your lands. You want to play things with your lands instead of attacking with them. Yeah, I understand. Yes.
Yeah, like that is most people forget to attack with their lands when you play Living Plane because they don't think about them being 1/1s as well. But that's it is a hard thing. But Ball Lightning in 4 factory, 1 strip mine, Pendelhaven, 2 forest, Sol Ring. That's what I would say is ballsy.
Yeah, in short, we love the deck.
That's
love
the
deck.
because that's the
Swedish meatballs.
namesake. It's the meatballs. The 69 Swedish meatballs. You have you have the balls in S. You have the fireballs and you have the ball lightnings. That's the theme of the deck.
The chat kind of wondered between game 1 and 2, like because we were pretty consent on you, we're definitely gonna include Blood Moon after game 1, but then the chat was like, wait, this is a really bad Blood Moon deck. You can't really include Blood Moon in this.
Man, but it's like I said to Gordon, when I play the Blood Moon from the sideboard into the main deck, it's easier for me to play the ball lightnings.
I love it. Yeah. And we were really hoping game 2 when you played the Forest Birds that you were following up with turn 2 Channel Fireball.
Oh, that would have been.
That would have been great. Yeah.
So as we are needing to go to next match pretty soon, I believe. So what do you
but
have?
really sexy deck.
What do you have to say about this chat monstrosity then?
Yeah, I get Seth gets the lead on this one.
I mean, I thought this was actually a really sort of almost elegantly designed deck. Your singleton choices actually had really good value across the board, solving a lot of the holes. And I thought it was a really unique take on sort of working within the confines of your deck construction rules to sort of give you those redundancies, right? I mean, and we saw the value of that giant tortoise, and then it kept coming back, right? Time Twister brought it back, and it was just backbreaking.
Like that.
and we were-
Do you know? Chat wanted me to play more giant tortoises. We had 2 until the last
Yeah, the
5
card's awful.
minutes of my brew stream.
It's better than Wily Wolf.
The card's fantastic. And you saw it was just insane.
Yeah, it blocks everything.
Well, let's not get crazy,
Almost,
right?
almost everything.
It does. I mean,
It does things.
backbreaking.
Things and stuff.
Like, yeah, but no, that was actually as I said earlier on stream, we had a 3-hour brewing stream where I went through my deck ideas Wednesday, and then chat voted on which deck, and after that we brewed it together to like finalize it and so on. And that's where the Siren's Call came in. Which
that's a
Was that
stupid inclusion.
a one-time land removal? Is that what it was? Like they tap their lands to cast something, and you just Sirens Call them, and then they.
yeah. Also, it was meant like with factories and Wily Wolves and giant tortoises, they need to attack with their 1/1s into all creatures that destroy 1/1s. So I actually think it's kind of good in the deck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if they don't play anything, go to attack. You play it beginning of combat, and like your 1/1s need to attack into my 1/4.
Right.
Yeah, I would actually say the worst card in your deck here, Gordon, is Mana Drain.
I boarded it out.
Yeah.
I want to counter spell. I want 2 flash counter there as well to stop some removal. But he didn't have disenchants, so I boarded them out.
Nope.
Yeah.
And the
the best
tracker
for-
did severely. I mean, the tracker overperformed.
It underperformed. I could never do what I wanted. The tracker should.
Just getting it to survive a turn is overperforming.
Do you know why I'm playing a tracker?
Yeah, because you're a living plane deck.
No, because
You need a deck card.
I wanted 4 Tim,
Yeah.
but then someone said you should play a Siren's Call. Then I need to get a core slot, so a Tim became a tracker, and that's the beauty of the format. Like that change for me is like, this is what it's all about.
Well, because you never would play Scavenging Folk in this deck.
No.
Like, if it wasn't for the deck construction, Scavenging Folk would never make the cut, and it's likely that, you know, some of the other choices, because you'd want 4 Falling Stars.
Only 3. I actually only own 3.
Okay.
Sadly enough. Because
That was the MVP of the match.
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah,
Indeed.
that's the thing. Like that's
the most amazing place.
like wheeling into Lotus, 2 falling stars.
Wheel,
But-
Lotus, Falling Star.
How come you didn't sacrifice the Lotus
I
for
forgot.
playing your Falling Star there? Because I figured you wanted the untapped lands,
Yeah.
but still you tapped the lands to play the Falling Star.
I forgot that I couldn't play the tortoise with what. I thought I didn't have to sacrifice the Lotus at all. And then like, okay, but one misplay can't lead to another. I still need to play the tortoise, so I'll just.
That's fair.
But I personally need to do this again because I didn't get to do what I wanted to do in the game. I wanted to berserk a ball lightning, and I wanted to crumble one of my own sushis to gain 4 life, and use the 4 mana to cast a fireball. That was my plan.
That's like crumbling your own sushi as a ritual.
But think about it. With Channel, it generates massive amounts of mana.
Yeah, because it's life as
That's
well.
8 mana. That
Yep.
is nuts.
That's
Yeah.
pretty insane.
But
Good games, guys. Good games.
yeah, like
Very fun, very fun.
of course, a bit sad that you gave me one game, but because of you did that, we saw the 2 falling star play in one turn and so on. So
We got to play more Magic.
exactly.
And that's fine. That's fine.
So
Gordon, apologies. I have to drop.
Yeah, I'm gonna drop everyone now, actually. So thanks, every of the guests. We're going to next game.
Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Bye bye.
Cheers for maybe bonding.